באולפן של המכון למחקרי ביטחון לאומי, מהכנס השנתי של המכון שנערך עכשיו בתל אביב במוזיאון ארץ ישראל. ממשיכים לדבר עם האורחים שהגיעו לכאן כדי להשתתף בכנס הזה, שהוא לא רק מקומי ולא רק עוסק בדוח השנתי של המכון, שעוסק כמובן בעניינים שלנו המקומיים, אלא גם בנושאים בינלאומיים. מיד הצטרף אלינו שר בממשלת צרפת, פייר ללוש. השר ללוש ידבר איתנו קצת על האירועים, אירועי הטרור שפקדו את צרפת בחודשים האחרונים, וגם על ההגירה והמהגרים המוסלמים והאסלאמים שחיים בצרפת ומשנים למעשה את פניה של המדינה ואת פניה של אירופה. אז פייר ללוש, הנה הוא כבר נמצא איתנו כאן באולפן, אנחנו נאמר לו שלום בעוד שנייה אחת. Monsieur Lellouche, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Welcome to our studio. How find our, conference till now?
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
I enjoyed the meeting on Iran this morning, the panel on Iran, and I was very impressed with Amos O's presentation at the end.
Yeah, we are here to talk about France and a bit about Europe.
This is my speech
yeah, exactly.
in a few minutes.
This is your speech. So, just a few months ago, we were all shocked by what happened there in Paris. A few weeks ago, time is flying. Did something change in France since then?
Well, I was on the spot that morning as a elected member of parliament from Paris and a city council member. I actually was on the spot, and I saw what is really a war scene. And then I took part in a demonstration with 3 or 4 million people. It was a momentous. It was a moment in which consciousness of the country really rose to what is happening to us.
For so many years, we Israelis, we are looking towards Europe and we are saying, well, the Europeans, they don't understand us. What we are dealing with here every day, every year, for so many years, radical Islam, terrorism. Do you comprehend us, Israelis, or the region better now?
I am not sure that this event is going to immediately change that. I think the image of Israel has been profoundly damaged as a result of the lack of progress on the two-state solution. A lot of people, unfortunately in a way, don't make much of a difference. They don't feel personally what an Israeli would feel as an immediate existential threat. They feel the situation here as a consequence of Israel not wanting to negotiate seriously on the two-state solution. And part of that, unfortunately, is true. We do need to get this process solved, especially at a time when the Israeli-Palestinian issue is a minute issue compared to what all the other events that are taking place in the Middle East, and quite frankly, have been very critical.
So what you are saying is what? Israel is paying a price for not being honest about wanting peace?
I'm saying that the choice, and I heard it today from Lieberman, I heard it yesterday from the defense minister, is to consider the more urgent thing to do than deal with the two-state solution. Iran is a big problem, or Hezbollah is a big problem. There's always something else. And yet the isolation of Israel on the world scene is really the product of the lack of progress. So I would not say that what is happening in France or in Denmark is actually going to bridge the gap in public opinion between what is felt in Europe now as a huge problem and what is the situation here. I know I'm going to disappoint you in saying this, but I think it's accurate. I think the Israeli government has to tackle this issue of the two-state solution seriously and takes this window of opportunity when there are so many other issues that are much more important. Fix it. It can be fixed. Yeah. A lot of Arab countries want it to be fixed. But yet it's not done. What is happening in Europe is a far more, is a completely different story, and in a way even more difficult, because we are, and this is what I will develop in a few minutes. What we are seeing is a result of two massive problems of which we don't have much control. One is what is happening in the entire Muslim world as a result of geopolitical changes. And the other thing is the result of decades of immigration in Europe which have not been faced seriously.
Wide open gates, wide open doors, everything was...
Open door, denial that there would be a problem one day with Islam in Europe. And yet there is one, and we have to fix it.
So it's not a taboo anymore? Because, just a few years ago I visited Brussels.
It is taboo. It is still taboo. It is still taboo. People are using all kind of phrases to go around the issue. The issue is
even now, even after what's happened.
Even now, of course. The realization that this is a massive issue for the future is not yet there. If you look, for example, at the debates in the European Parliament, we are still incapable of adopting what is called the PNR, the personal name record, to have a minimum surveillance on the people flying inside the European Union.
Yeah.
We don't even have that. If you look at defense budgets in Europe, going well below 1% of GDP, if you look at...
But France is investing a lot of money right now in...
but even our budget has been cut in the last few years, so we now have to try to find solutions. So what I'm saying is that this is a beginning of an awakening, beginning of a realization that, yes, we have to look at the world as it is and not as we wished it were.
And this awakening can bring Europe and immigrants into a clash of civilizations as we know it from Huntington?
Well, clearly the people in the Islamic State or in Al-Qaeda who are using this enormous propaganda machine called Internet, this is what they are doing. They are trying to create a civil war situation inside our society. They are trying to tear apart the national fabric, make sure that this youth that are the sons of immigration don't feel French or Danish, but feel committed to the cause of the caliphate. And this is what they are trying to do, create a situation of permanent tension that will lead to some kind of a permanent state of civil war. If we fall into this, this will be disaster for all of Europe. So this is a time where we have to be both very firm on the value system, legal system, what we stand for, and at the same time, fix immigration issues and fix integration issues. So these are what I call monumental issues, mountains of problems in front of us.
Yeah.
Which
so it's not just a matter of money; it's a matter of education and strengthening.
It starts at school. It starts with authority at school. It starts with the ability of teaching the Shoah, the Holocaust in school. In many French schools today, you cannot speak about the Holocaust. You could not get a minute of silence for the dead on the 7th of January attack. You could not get that. Because many of the kids associated themselves with Muslim values, felt insulted, and considered that these people who were killed were justly killed. Now, if you get into this as a permanent feature of our democratic society, then the other guys, the guys sitting with Mr. al-Baghdadi, have won half of the war. So we must absolutely regain this mental territory. Make sure that those kids know about French value. Probably they don't even know.
Yeah, the French, the liberal values, the
many of these
values.
kids, the history of France began with their birth or their arrival in France.
Yeah.
There was a long history before, which explains why the last person that was killed for blasphemy in France was called Chevalier de la Barre. He was executed in 1766 for damaging a crucifix.
Yeah.
This was in 1766.
Things
Since
changed
then,
since
there
then.
was the French Revolution. He was rehabilitated. We had the 1905 separation law between church and state. These are the fundamental French values. These kids don't know them.
Minister Lellouche, we have 10 seconds and I'm going to ask you a short question and I will need a short answer. Is Europe safe for Jews?
Yes, yes. And I will say this in a minute. I really am shocked with what Prime Minister Netanyahu has said in Paris, in my own constituency, in my synagogue, in Victoire, and he said again after the Danish. Europe is
You were
not
shocked.
living.
This is what
Yes,
you're
I
saying.
am shocked. The Jews have been in Europe forever. From some of the oldest synagogues date back from the Middle Ages in France. Jewish rabbis helped translate the Bible into Latin in Troyes in 1400 and something. So to deny this past, to deny that the Jews have to take part, they are full citizens. Like other French people or Danish people, they have to fight for values of democracy there.
Yeah, so you're,
And not flee.
you're critical
And
about
as-
what you've heard.
And as your Israeli president say, if people want to do the Aliyah, they have to do it for the right reason, not for escape. We're not living under Hitler in Europe. We are having a major problem with terrorism, and we will work to fix it.
All right. Minister
Thank
Pierre
you.
Lellouche, thank you very much for joining us here in our studio in Tel Aviv.